can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, I'm gonna be talking about Green Arrow #1 by Joshua Williamson and Sean Isaacs. So this one is a good jumping on point. If you are someone who has ever been interested in Green Arrow, or maybe you just happen to see this comic and you're like, I'll give it a shot. The thing about this comic is while it is a #1 issue, it does technically kind of hope that you have read some recent DC comic story arcs, maybe not so much any Green Arrow ones, but just in general, and more specifically Dark Crisis. The good thing about this comic is that it actually takes a lot of time to make sure you know what's going on. If you're not familiar with Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow, or even if you are, and I would even dare say in some cases, if you're only familiar with Green Arrow from the CW Arrow series,
you have failed this city.
This comic takes the time to make sure you know exactly who's who and why they are who they are, going back through Oliver's origin, granted at breakneck speed, but also informing you on who some of the other players are in this, like Roy Harper, the guy who was Green Arrow's first ever sidekick, or even the fact that Green Arrow had a whole son named Connor Hawk. It even reminds you that Green Arrow's boo thing is Black Canary. It reminds you of all of these things. One of the things I do find very interesting about it too is that it also reminds you why Green Arrow is not around right now in the DC Comics universe following the events of Dark Crisis. Some of you may remember in last year's Justice League #75, Oliver Queen was killed shortly before all the rest of the Justice League were sent to the Shadow Realm. But in Dark Crisis #6, when all of the Justice League came back, all the heroes that were killed off in Justice League #75, all of them were restored back to the Prime Earth continuity. However, Green Arrow was the only one who wasn't. And really at the time, there never really was a clear-cut explanation as to why this was the case. Yeah, sure, Mr. Terrific did give some throwaway dialogue saying that maybe something had plucked Oliver from returning back to this universe. And as it turns out, I think it's safe to say we know exactly who it was. We know that Amanda Waller has been, creeping around in the DC Comics universe. At the end of Dark Crisis, it was revealed that she was working with some very shady individuals, some of which being Peacemaker, another character referred to as Lady Peacemaker, a female variant or version of the Peacemaker we all know. And we also saw a Joker Sinestro hybrid characters, well as some others. But Amanda Waller seems to be going after superheroes, going after capes and cowls, trying to stop the superheroes of the DC Comics universe from doing something. She has been given a task to eliminate all metahumans from the entire world. And that's exactly what she's trying to do. And while in this instance, it seems kind of odd that if she is going after metahumans, why is she going after street level heroes? Because exactly what Green Arrow is. It's heavily implied that Amanda Waller likely had something to do with Green Arrow's disappearance. When we start this issue off, he seems to have washed up on yet another island. He is somehow back on Lian Yu, only he's actually not. He's on another island altogether, one that seems incredibly futuristic and alien by comparison to Lian Yu. But that's not the only problem. You see, another Green Arrow family character has reappeared in this issue, a character by the name of Lian Harper, the daughter of Roy Harper, aka Red Arrow, and Jade Nguyen, otherwise known as Cheshire. Now, for those wondering where this mysterious child just popped up from all of a sudden, those of you who have kept up with TV shows like Young Justice, you're probably keenly aware of who this character is. However, people who probably have not watched Young Justice, but maybe have read some of the earlier comics, may recognize his character as the daughter that Roy Harper lost when Star City was destroyed. This was back during the Justice League story arc Cry for Justice back in 2010. At the time of her death, she was maybe roughly 5 years old, but when we get to this, she is fully grown. While granted, the version of the character that died in that story arc was from the New Earth continuity of DC Comics, and the version we see before us in this issue is the Prime Earth version of that character. Those two realities have been merged together, so technically, while there is a difference between the two Earths, the continuity and story arcs that have taken place in one versus the other are kind of the same now. You can thank Jeff Johns and Doomsday Clock for muddying the waters on that one. Lian was believed to have died during the Cry for Justice story arc at the hands of the Electrocutioner, but as it turns out, she didn't actually die, she just simply lost her memory. The funny thing about Lian is that while she had seemingly disappeared from DC Comics continuity, she has been pretty busy herself. If you're wondering where this character's been hiding all this time, well, as it turns out, she actually has been hiding out in Alleytown, and more specifically, she has been working with Catwoman over the last couple of years, ever since she made her return to the DC Comics universe in Catwoman Volume 5, number 25. She's been working in Alleytown alongside Catwoman as one of her quotey fingers thieves, and she's just been hanging around ever since. While she doesn't necessarily have the same exact skill set as her mother Cheshire, she still has the skills that she developed thanks to her mother Cheshire. Even at such a young age, here it's even showcased that Cheshire taught Lian how to throw a shuriken when she was as young as 2 years old. And of course, she also learned some fighting techniques from Catwoman while she was working under her. Otherwise, she has simply operated as a thief, but now her and her father are reunited, but just as quickly as that can happen, Lian is taken away and sent to the same place that Oliver Queen was, a place seemingly surrounded by manhunters who want nothing more than to, well, do what their name implies. This was not exactly the Green Arrow number 1 I was expecting, but one thing I was actually happy to see is that the character is largely unchanged. Joshua Williams has a pretty good handle on who Oliver Queen is and how he should be, how he should act. It's very reminiscent to me of the Benjamin Percy Green Arrow series, which I was a huge fan of, that was a solid series that showcased Green Arrow trying to be a better street level hero than what he's ever been before, trying to do what's right, to fight for the little people and all that other good stuff, and being at the time calling himself a social justice warrior because that's what he did. He used his wealth and his capabilities to fight for people who didn't have anyone standing up for them, and I thought that was really cool. Granted, it came around at a probably very unfortunate time because social justice warrior at the time had kind of become this term that people used to describe people they didn't like who just so happened to just want everyone to be decent people, but that's a whole other story altogether. Not here to have that conversation. I still love this series.
To this day!
It's kind of what tuned me into Benjamin Percy as a writer before he got put on X-Force and the Wolverine series after House of X. Yeah, I love this kickoff for it. I don't really know exactly where it's gonna go or if I'll even keep up with it like 100%, but so far so good. I like the fact that Lian is back and that they're using some of this older continuity from the original New Earth continuity DC Comics era and trying to make something out of it, building the Green Arrow family as we've already seen from some of the solicits and poster artwork and stuff like that. They're bringing back everyone who has ever been a part of Oliver Queen's life in any way, shape, form, or fashion. They're all coming back in some capacity or another, whether they're a hero, a villain, or somewhere in between. But anyways, that's everything I want to talk about with Green Arrow number 1. If you enjoyed this video, do the YouTube thing, like, share, comment, subscribe, and make sure to tap that notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any of the videos that I put out. We're trying to hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2023, so if you haven't done so already, consider becoming one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Until next time, let me know what you think about Green Arrow number 1. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.